Any guesses to how many days until kickoff?
85.
4.
It is 84.
Oh,
Nice.
fuck.
Yeah,
What a lucky
both
guess.
close. Yeah, lucky.
Did
I
you
don't know.
say? Did you say the word F?
Demonetized.
No, F is a letter.
Yeah, I know.
Say.
Yeah, whatever.
Right. Oh, Kevin
No,
got
Kevin's here. So it is June 12th. We'll say that near the top of the show.
That means Kevin heard you saying bad words.
He did indeed. And
don't tell my father.
We're here talking some football, answering some questions, Dynasty, maybe some redraft stuff.
Shut up.
Trade. Oh, and Kevin is getting good karma here for his Pacers. So they came back and won. Did they win last night?
They didn't come back last night. They beat them outright.
Yeah.
Game 3. Yeah.
So they won, and but the first game he super chatted us. They came back and won that game, and so he's good karma for the Pacers. Whenever they play next, it's probably tomorrow or
it's tomorrow. I had to pull it up because I have no idea what's going on in basketball.
Well, you're not missing much.
Well, I mean, I know that it's the finals, and I know who's in it. I know that much, and I know what happened in the first game. So I know more than my wife, I guess.
Yeah.
It's been pretty good playoffs. I haven't really watched it, but I've heard the playoffs have been pretty good this year.
Not bad.
I catch flashes of it, because Ron is always watching stuff.
He's a big NBA, isn't he?
Yeah, he's always got it on. So,
and James is here, as you call him, the horseman, with his majestic horse running in the wild. But yeah, we're here just kind of answering questions, maybe going over some trades, maybe looking at redraft rankings and some interesting stuff there. Which, again, redraft is very relevant to Dynasty because a lot of guys we need to produce this year, or they, week to week we react to it. We talk about that all the time. So I wanted to kick it off with you, Dad. You can lead the show, and I know you've been following some potential mini camp stuff that's happening. Any good fantasy relevant stuff that we should need to know, or just anything in general?
Yeah, it's just kind of general football stuff, which can kind of relate to the fantasy, like, of course, everybody's in the best shape and, everybody's making all these wonderful plays, but Rodgers has actually been pretty good in Pittsburgh, and some of the rookies in Cleveland. I guess I ain't going to talk about the quarterbacks because there's nothing. I have no idea what to say, but sounds like Harold Fanning, the tight end, looked pretty good. They're playing stupid games with the Raiders. They had some kind of bouncing ball with somebody on the inside on the field there in the Raiders practice. Oh, we haven't talked about this. Now, this could be a huge fantasy impact. The Denver signing Dobbins.
Oh, yeah. Forgot about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting.
Yeah, so we don't know what Harvey, how that's going to affect RJ Harvey. And Dobbins can carry the load. We know he can, as long as he can stay healthy and stuff like that. So,
which he can't. So he can't carry the load.
What's that?
I said which he can't stay healthy. Like, that's part of the smear on his record, right? Like,
yeah,
he's a good player when he plays. I think that's what you're getting at.
Yeah, I think it's interesting with I don't think it affects Harvey too much, to be honest. Like, I don't know. I don't think it affects him too much. Like he's as long as he's catching a bunch of passes, but potentially Estime and McLaughlin, those guys might fall to irrelevancy. I know people are a little bit excited about Estime maybe being the hammer to whatever Harvey's going to be. So yeah, it's going to be an interesting one for sure. James
Fields looked pretty good. Again, take it for what it's worth. Justin Fields. There was one other dude I wanted to. I guess Tet McMillan sat out some of his practices, and so
injury stuff.
Yeah, like soreness or I don't know, tweak something or something like that. So.
Isn't Luther Burden hurt again too? And Ken Walker?
He is hurt?
I thought so. I thought I heard that they were talking about, because Loveland came in with an injury, like into the draft with an injury from last year, and something happened with Burden too. I don't know.
Yeah.
Chicago Bears news.
Oh yeah, he is injured. Luther Burden.
Yeah.
He missed, they make it sound like a tragedy if you miss a couple of practices and stuff like that. Loveland, I don't think has really. I heard him talk in an interview either today or yesterday on the Rich Eisen show, and I don't think he's still practicing because of his shoulder. So.
Right. Yeah.
I'm just seeing some weird headlines with technically, like Ben Johnson said, he misses a lot anytime you're not out there. If you're in the training, like he's already say, how much could he have possibly missed to this point?
Yeah. He's
That's
missed
kind of
100% of the days.
The coach wants you out there every minute, and
James commented that he tweaked his hamstring.
Ted
did.
He's got a month. He's got a month to get better.
Yeah, I mean, when the coach is already in this headline, this has to be just like it's from. I don't even know this website, but it says Luther Burden faces storm of doubt as Ben Johnson questions Chicago Bears bold draft.
Oh yeah, clickbait.
Yeah, it's some clickbait there. But let's check out James. He's trying to pull off a big trade. He says he's trading away Hurts, JT, and AD Mitchell and Ayuk. Okay. So Jonathan Taylor, Jalen Hurts, Adonai Mitchell, and Ayuk for BTJ and RJ Harvey. Is this Superflex, James? Because if that's Superflex, I don't want to be – I need more for Hurts than that. I'm not even sure if I would do BTJ and Harvey for just Hurts, like possibly 3 QB.
Well,
yeah.
He says
3 QB. I don't know if I want to be trading away all of that.
What Hurts? JT,
you're getting May.
Mitchell.
Okay, sorry. Yeah. I don't know why I missed May. The May part. Okay.
Where
Drake May, BTJ, and RJ Harvey.
I don't see the word May there.
Well, you gotta read it. Yeah. I missed it too, though. It says Ayuk for May, BTJ.
Oh,
and
May.
RJ
there
Harvey.
It is.
Okay, so that's better.
Not bad.
Yeah. I think I'm okay with this.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's kind of good all around. You know, like we don't know when Ayuk's going to play. AD Mitchell, obviously he's only going into his second year, but look where he is, right? Like,
yeah,
there's no nothing guaranteed there. JT for RJ Harvey, you're getting you're getting younger, but maybe only slightly, like, because I know Harvey's old.
Yeah.
I know that's the joke,
right?
But you're definitely getting younger, but you're trading a known asset for the upside of the Sean Payton running back. And, the Hurts downgrade to May is, you're kind of banking on May as your dude. Like he'll become Hurts, I know people are really excited about him right now, like a lot of people, So yeah, the upgrade to BTJ is huge, right? And you're kind of trading away the known commodities for what could be with Harvey and May. So if you got conviction about those dudes, go for it, man.
And this is just my opinion, but I'm gonna say how I have May on a few teams. I'm valuing him in the same boat as like basically a top 5 quarterback, like which is Lamar, May, Hertz, Allen, Daniels. Maybe not as high as those guys, but the next guy after that tier of guys. And I think mostly because what I think he's going to do this year. So
you want Drake May or Patrick Mahomes in 6 point per passing touchdown?
I'm going to go May.
Oh shit, that's ballsy.
Yep. I'm going to go May. But I wouldn't I would be, if I'm trading Patrick Mahomes, I would try and get something in return. I don't know if I would probably just stick with the guy I had if someone was just trying to do like a 1-to-1 swap. But like in a startup, I think I would take May over Mahomes.
Yeah, so that's upside. Well, I can't even necessarily call it like fully upside, but the unknown for the longevity, because we know Mahomes is going to be around for the next 35 years.
Yeah, I just think that 35.
Yeah.
I just think that the rushing ability of May is really going to separate himself. So I know it's a risk for sure, but I believe in it. I think he looked good last year, and his best receiver was Demario Douglas or something, Hunter Henry. I don't know. I know he doesn't have a significant upgrade, but I think Patriots receiving core it's going to be, I think it could be a lot better than what we're predicting it to be right now. Like if Diggs can be healthy and just be like that veteran presence, Hunter Henry and Austin Hooper are serviceable tight ends. If Kyle Williams, he's the guy I'm really banking on, like from very early on being
if you can get
a legitimate
Diggs
wide
off
receiver.
the boat.
Yeah, he seems to be. He's at practice, so yeah, I basically, maybe it's a slight downgrade, but BTJ and Harvey for like JT, AD Mitchell, and Ayuk, I think is enough to kind of close that gap if you think there is one between Hurts and May, so which most people do, and that's fair. And there is one right now.
And his comment a couple of minutes ago was, he's trying to get a little younger, and that's exactly what you're doing,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I like it. Kevin here says he has a 12-team start, 9 non-tight end premium. He says he gives up Hawkinson. Oh God, it's Hawkinson and Shakir. Received Kincaid and Kenneth Walker. Contender probably top 4. My other tight ends are Jonnu and Freiermuth. Walker would be my RB3. I'm fine with this trade. In a non-tight end premium, especially. It's still some upside with Kincaid, despite what I feel about him. And then I'd much rather Kenneth Walker over Shakir in a 12-team start 9.
But also you hate Hawkinson, so it kind of works out both ways.
I hate him. I just think the upside of Kenneth Walker, if it's like a 12-team start 12, I'd probably still do it, but like Shakir is a lot more valuable in those type of leagues, like in our listener leagues.
Does it bother you that Walker is already hurt again?
Yeah, what was his issue there?
Ankle.
I don't like it.
In minicamp?
Yeah. I guess it was 2 days ago. I just heard about it today, or maybe it was yesterday, but I don't know. I haven't been up on my news. Been trying to smash workout while I'm actually at work. What a shocker.
I'm looking at it now. It says he's working through an ankle, but he should be fine. So it's always tough with minicamp because like they're going to be fine with veterans. Like, hey, you're a little banged up, just don't bother. Essentially, like
if you do this trade, try and get Charbonnet for a second from whoever has him too, and then you're really insulated from it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But yeah, I think the upside of Walker is would push me to do it, considering he's my RB3. So like, you're not trading for him to be your RB1, and he's already a top 4 team, and he probably still should be in a non-tight end premium, giving up those 2 players in Hawk and Shakir. I can't imagine those 2 players are going to drop him out of the top 4 as a contender. And then if Walker hits, he's probably a very good chance he can win it if things go right. So tweaked hamstring for Tet. We talked about that. And then Amon-Ra, the knee procedure. I think that was a little bit of a cleanup and
off season.
Yeah, a little bit of a cleanup, and hopefully he's okay there. So I had a couple other trades to pull up here. This one was the most recent, so I'm going to pull it up. This is actually from our friend PP Poo Poo PP. I forget where it stops. But he was talking about this trade. So it's a 12-team super flex start 10. I don't know if I have any other details in it or about it. I can't really tell the other ones, but he is potentially trading away Josh Allen. And the best, just to kind of give this a little bit of background, he's been trying to get other guys like down tier to a Drake May, Caleb Williams, Herbert, Stroud, but he can't really get a deal done. So he'd be getting Bo Nix.
It's kind of a lateral move too, you're saying Josh Allen to that.
Yeah. Josh Allen.
Yes, Josh Allen to that. I bet you all those guys are valued pretty similarly. Okay. So yeah. I understood.
Yeah, he has Josh Allen. So Bo Nix and 227 firsts. And I kind of told him, I don't think it's a lopsided trade on either side. I think I would just keep Allen for that price. I feel like I can get a little bit more for Allen, but then he kind of, mentioned that, he's been trying and he's not really getting much, anyone biting on Josh Allen. So if you were trying to trade Josh Allen, by the way, his team does not look very good. It's hard to see. It's a little blurry, but he has Zach Moss, I think Kyle Monungai are in his starting lineup. BTJ, Luther Burden, Emeka Ibuka, Laporta, Keon Coleman, Tucker Kraft. So the running backs are tough.
He's very early in a rebuild then, it sounds like.
Yeah, I don't really see much else on the bench there. So he might be forced to start guys like Keon Coleman in a start 10. So So I don't know. What do you guys feel like if you're in his situation, kind of probably a rebuild? Can't really get much more for Allen or no one's biting. Would you just go ahead and take this, or would you still kind of just hold Allen and hope to get more?
I don't think I would do it. I think the firsts are nice. They are 2 years away, so that's less enticing, but also you don't know what these firsts are going to be. And you have to realize too, whoever you're giving Josh Allen to or trading to, not giving, I guess, but that makes their team better, so which makes those firsts worse for you, kind of a thing,
Mm-hmm.
So that's something to consider. I get it. If you plug that into a trade chart or something, it's probably fair or whatever, but because it's basically more or less 4 firsts, right? But it's probably closer to 3 because they're 2 years out. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I just feel like if you're trading away a player like Josh Allen, you need to get young, proven guy, or at least, not necessarily proven, but you need to get a Malik Neighbors, BTJ, Trey McBride, these young guys and something else on top of that to trade away a piece like that. So you're insulating your risk a little bit. I think it's kind of funny that you pulled this up actually, because I recently got a trade offer for Josh Allen, which it consisted of a lot of first round picks and stuff. Mm-hmm. And it's that probably is fair, but it's also I'm not just trading Josh Allen for a bunch of picks, essentially. Like you need something a little more concrete to kind of mitigate the risk a little bit, because think about it. Like, what are the odds that one of those picks turns into like anything close to Josh Allen? It's like basically essentially zero, or let's call it 10% or something, maybe 20%, not even that.
So one of the teams. One of the teams that he's getting, because it's 227 first. So one of it is the team he's sending Allen to. The other one, it's always hard to predict 2 years out, but like he has guys like he's going to be relying on guys like McCaffrey, Kamara, McLaurin, Devontae Adams, Kittle. Those are all guys that what are they going to do in 2026?
Yeah.
I could see that one of them potentially being a pretty good pick, but it's still too early to know.
Yeah. That's good that you brought that up too, because that was another thing I was going to kind of suggest. Like, look at the guy's team and see if he's like really aging, and it sounds like he is. He
has some good young pieces. I mean, he's good at quarterback. He has Stroud, Purdy, Bryce Young. He has Caleb Johnson, Chuba. He has Puka. Some other younger receivers that we'll wait and see. So he has some good piece. He has a good mix there, but if you don't replace guys like McCaffrey, Kamara.
So he has Stroud, Purdy, Bryce Young, and Bo Nix?
No, this is a different team that's not involved in this trade.
Oh. Yeah. I was going to say, pick your poison on one of those guys and then a couple of firsts. Not that, I don't know. I guess it's probably not too far off from Bo Nix, I guess.
Yeah, but it's another team not involved in the trade. The other 27 first. So the other team he's trading Allen to, it has he'll have Josh Allen, Justin Fields, Jackson Dart. He has Genty, and then maybe like Jordan Mason, and we'll see about Tank Bigsby. Plus Josh Allen, he'd be having. So Bo Nix, Justin Fields, so it'd be Justin Fields, Josh Allen, Jackson Dart. And then he has Marvin Harrison, Travis Hunter, Zay Flowers, Pat Fryer. So even that team is kind of like one guy, Genty gets injured, in 26. They're not like stacked teams, but it's tough. I feel like I'd want a little bit more for Allen, though. I do. But again, it also depends on your league. And, his team doesn't look ready to compete for another couple of years, or maybe another 2026 we'll start looking at it type of thing. So
trading away essentially the best player, like the 101 or the 102, that's tough, which that kind of plays into the question that just got posted too.
By the way, he doesn't have his super flex. He has Rashid Shaheed in there, so he has Allen and no one else at quarterback. So
well, that's okay though, because that means you're going to have the 101 next year.
Yep, for sure.
And then maybe now is not the time to be selling players necessarily. Obviously you can do it, if you want to just get them off your team. But Josh Allen's not a guy you just want to get off your team, kind of a thing. These guys become so much more valuable in season in general.
So Jonathan's here with a startup draft that he's doing on Monday, and he's getting offered the 101, the 512, and a 26 second for his 106 and 406. Intrigued by drafting Daniels, but unsure. I'm okay staying put. Jonathan, how many starters do you have in this league? Although you're trading 2 picks for 2 picks, so you're not gaining an extra starter or anything, but
not this year. Essentially it's if you want to move up to get one of those top tier quarterbacks, literally you get to pick anybody, right? And you're moving back 18 spots in the 4th round, and you're getting a second on top of it. I just pulled up startup ADP to kind of get an idea of the guys going in this range. I got to put it to super flex.
I have it up here too. So
but overall, just looking at it real quick, I like that. If you're depending on like how you view, like really just concentrate on like that move up, so essentially you're getting, Josh Allen or Jaden Daniels or Mahomes or, or Lamar, whoever you value as the 101. He mentioned Daniels.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of like, a Jamar Chase or one of those quarterbacks that falls, Justin Jefferson, Mahomes, whatever, Lamb. Like the move up from that guy to Jaden Daniels essentially is that, like, how intriguing is it, I guess? Like, I think it's pretty good.
So it's 512. He's moving back from the 406 to the 512, right? So he's getting, he's basically giving up Jonathan Taylor, Cam Ward, Rashee Rice. He's like swapping those guys for like a Devonta Smith, Derrick Henry, Olave to move up from probably one of these three. Although he says he would take Neighbors at 106. So
okay,
yeah, I don't mind it. 12 teams start 10, so it's not a deep league. It's not a shallow league. It's kind of right in the middle. You are potentially getting the most valuable piece in Dynasty. So I don't mind it. I think it's fine, but it depends on your, like, if you want to get Daniels or something, like I'm fine with going and getting it. So
yeah. And he just said he'd kind of want a trade up from a later pick than a 26 pick. You can use that 26 pick in the draft, though, too, to do exactly that.
Yeah.
Like you can easily get that done because someone will want it. If there's a guy on the clock, like he doesn't even have to be on the clock. Like if you have like 3 guys that you really want, like you can still get that done pretty easily, I would think.
All right, so let me ask you, Dad, do you want, so let's just say he goes with Neighbors because that's who he said. So do you want Neighbors, Cam Ward, or do you want, what would it be, Jaden Daniels, Devonta Smith in a 26 second? So Neighbors and Cam Ward, or Jaden Daniels, Devonta Smith in a 26 second?
I'd take the Daniels.
Yeah, I would too.
Yep.
By the way, you're going to hear a sonic boom here in about a minute or two.
Oh my God. Yeah, I'm fine with it. And he's open to trading the 26 pick. Yeah. I think it's important. And the reason why I asked how many starters is because, like, if it's a super deep league, like, again, our listener leagues, which we do 12 team start 12, it's much better to get multiple picks, like trading back and getting, a couple extra starters that you can plug into your roster. But you're kind of staying even here. You're not losing out any starters at all. So I think I'm good with it. That's kind of in these kind of middle, not, it's 12 team start 10s. Like you essentially either want to get more in return, like an extra starter, or you want to at least be even and go like 2 starters for 2 starters. Plus, you're getting a little bit, what do you call it, Dad? A little sugar or cherry on top, or a little sweetener?
Yeah.
Sweetener, right?
Pretty much. Cherry.
Some juice.
Something a little bit more.
I haven't heard you say it recently, but you used to say like a little sweetener. I think it was a sweetener.
Yeah. So. And I mean, I'm kind of looking at, around pick 42. I mean, this is obviously according to just strictly ADP, like you're going from, I'm looking at like same position. You're going from like T. Higgins to DJ Moore. It's like, yeah, like that's a downgrade, but it's not like earth shattering necessarily.
Mm-hmm.
Bucky Irving to, Chase Brown, Ken Walker, like that's not even, wouldn't even consider that a big downgrade. Kind
Those
of
are all in the same category, kind of. Yeah. Tier.
And, Trevor Lawrence to who's here, Penix. I'm just looking like same position, kind of around those areas. Plus, and like so, like that downgrade is not as big as moving up to get that quarterback. I don't think.
Yeah, so hopefully that helped there. Jonathan, if you're not in our Discord,
Oh, we got a double one.
Yeah.
If you're not in our Discord,
I just heard everyone downstairs say, "What was that?"
Join our Discord there, Jonathan. It's free, and I'm not sure if you are. I don't know if I know your Discord name if you are, but you can kind of ask us questions. I don't know if it's a slow draft or not, but it's you can kind of ask questions if it is a slow draft as you come on the clock, and if you need any help, if we're not online or something. And to anyone else that wants to join the Discord, hop on in, and of course hit the like button and subscribe. Marvin's here. He says summer is here. Happy to see you all live. Yeah, appreciate you, Marvin. It is basically summer, although I just feel like it's the first time I've seen the sun in a week. So it's been cloudy where we are.
Accounting for you.
Yeah. Oh, giving away our location. We got stalkers, man. Okay, so it's nice. It's a live draft.
Have a beer.
Nice. I like that it's not slow. So hopefully you enjoy that. But yeah, check it out. And again, it's all free to join. And any other questions, guys, keep popping them in the chat here. I think I had another couple of trades here. Then we can maybe transition to a little bit. Couple redraft stuff. Oh, this was kind of interesting. Did we talk about this one? I feel like we might have talked about this one. Maybe not.
I wasn't there.
It's Justin Jefferson or Drake London in the 102. I think this is really interesting. Well, I know rookie picks are kind of it's a little bit old news a bit, but so let's say Justin Jefferson versus Drake London and Amarion Hampton.
Yeah, I mean, the nice thing about the 102 is it's any player except Ashton Genty, essentially, right? Like,
yeah.
So anyone from the draft, whoever the hell you like, plus Drake London for Justin Jefferson. Yeah, I like it. I like the London side.
Interesting. Dad, where are you at? Jefferson? Or
I had an initial tilt to A, but I can kind of, once we start putting names on the 102, then I can think.
Well, I think. Yeah, sorry. Go ahead.
Nah, then I can think. Then I can slide back to B. I'm not a huge Drake London dude, but
yeah, I'm not necessarily either. The PPR definitely helps it. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a downgrade, I mean, Justin Jefferson was essentially untouchable, as far as receivers go. It was him and Chase going into last year. Well, him, Chase, and Lamb kind of, mix them around. And it's essentially still that,
Mm-hmm.
Last year's flavor was Chase. So, yeah, I don't mind it.
You guys know how many targets?
I don't mind either side either, honestly.
Yeah. Do you guys know how many targets Drake London had with the 3 games that Michael Penix played at the end of the year?
I know it was something like stupid where he was like on like a 200 target pace or something like that. It might not have been 200, but I mean, he had that one crazy blow up game. So I'm going to say 27. I know that's a lot, but that's 9 a game. Was it 3 games?
Yeah, 3 games.
I felt like he had one game where he had like 15 targets or something, but I'm just going to go with 27.
He was on a 221 target pace. He had 39 targets in 3 games. God. He had 18 in week 18, and then 13 in week 17, 8 in week 16. So he had an insane target share. A small sample size, but
I'm kind of cheating and looking at the scoring, and he had the 3rd most targets in fantasy behind Chase and Neighbors.
Now, Mooney did miss week 18. I kind of remembered that, so I had to look it up.
Mm-hmm.
Not that should like really tilt the needle, but I don't think anyone's expecting 18 targets a week anyways, but
no.
Yeah, that just shows you the potential. I mean, obviously, like there's not a lot of competition there. Justin Jefferson definitely has more target competition. Not that he's not the alpha, like clear cut, but I would say Addison over Mooney.
Man, you look at his game log, and real inconsistent. There's a game there he only got 3 targets. There's other ones, 13, 18.
Yeah,
it started off slow.
Yeah.
Kirk Cousins was playing like shit.
Yeah, I know it started off slow there, and then he had that. Yeah, he had 19 targets in 3 games, and then he had 35 in the next 3. Week 1 through 3, 19, and then 35. Have I been on my little?
Sorry, Cousins threw 17 pass attempts in week 15, so that's still like a 20% target share almost.
Have I been on my Justin Jefferson rant yet? Live or
yeah, I'm pretty sure you went off on it last time where you're like, he sucks and I don't want him.
Yeah, that's exactly what I said. Now
you just hate the Vikings for some reason.
Yep, I do. No, I don't think he sucks, but it was more just I thought it was interesting that I know he's been wide receiver 1. He was that a couple of years ago, but comparing all the other wide receiver 1s over the last basically since 2020, he's pretty far off from like what they all did, their peaks. He didn't reach what was it? He got 21.7 points per game. And you look at everyone else that's been wide receiver 1 the last like I said, since 2020, they've been, I think, all over 23 points. So, and Cooper Kupp and Devontae Adams, I think, were over 25 points. So just interesting there. But I mean, Jefferson's awesome. Let's see what Marvin has to say. He says, would you trust Montgomery, Pollard, and Caleb Johnson as your Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was a comma.
It should be a comma. Would you trust Montgomery, Pollard, and Caleb Johnson as your season-long back? Should I trade Kenneth Walker for a 26 or 27 first? I'm in no rush to draft spots right now. Hard to drop players. Look at my team. Okay, so he has Jamar Chase, St. Brown, BTJ, Jacoby Myers, Josh Palmer, Bateman, and T-Hawk. You can probably cut Palmer. If you're in win now, would you trade Walker or hold for 3 years? Safe value right now.
No, you hold. Kenneth Walker is a solid hold in win now. And I don't if your running backs were stronger, I think it's a good room, with Walker and Montgomery as basically your starters, and then Pollard and Caleb are your depth. You don't know what Caleb's going to be.
And I'd trade Kenneth Walker for a 26 first rounder today, right now.
Even if all you had was Montgomery, Pollard, and Caleb Johnson, and you're in win now mode.
Yeah.
Ballsy.
Well, you got.
I wouldn't.
Yeah, you got to go all in sometime. I mean.
Well, yeah, but you're talking about trading away a starting running back for a pick. That's not going all in.
He just doesn't play all the time. When he's on the field, he's great. He's can make a make a big play and stuff like. Montgomery's going to be double-digit touchdowns.
Well, the nice thing about Kenneth Walker missing games is at least you know when to start him.
Yeah,
when he plays.
A couple things here. I don't disagree necessarily with Dad's philosophy of, just because you're contending and maybe you're giving up a piece that can help you, be part of your starting roster. I think I just value Kenneth Walker a little bit more than 1 first. It's not like if it was like a first and a second, I'd think about it. If it was obviously 2 firsts, I don't think you're getting that. But, or if it's a first where you're looking at the team, and you're like, I'm banking on this team being top 4 worst teams. I'm okay with it. But I think I value Walker a little bit more, but I don't necessarily disagree with the philosophy. I think he would, if they're healthy, I think Montgomery, Pollard, and Caleb could get you through the season, especially, with guys like Jamar Chase, St. Brown, BTJ, really winning you your weeks. I just have a feeling we're going to get if he's healthy, a big Kenneth Walker season this year. So let's play a little game here. I want you to tell me who averaged more points per game in PPR last year Kenneth Walker or Brees Hall?
Fuck, I don't know. I didn't
Hall.
have any of these guys. I'm just going to be guessing. I'm going to say Ken Walker.
Ken Walker by 1.5 more points per game. Kenneth Walker or James Conner?
Connor.
Connor played like all the time. So I feel like that'll bring his average down. I'm going to keep going Walker.
It's Walker by 0.6. I will say that Connor, he had that game where he left in week 17. That kind of affects his number. But Kenneth Walker or Chase Brown?
I'll say Chase Brown. But I felt like he kind of had a slow start. I don't know if I'm remembering that correctly.
Well, it's because
Chase Brown.
Zach Moss was there.
Yeah.
That's what impeded Chase Brown a little bit.
Yeah.
So who are you saying, Dad? Kenneth Walker or Chase Brown?
So I'll say Brown.
It's Kenneth Walker by 0.6 points. Kenneth Walker or James Cook?
Let me ask you a question about this. Because like you mentioned, the week 17, he missed like part of his game, right?
Mm-hmm.
How do you guys like approach that when looking at stats, right? Because it's like, yeah, it brings his numbers down because he didn't play the whole time. But I mean, you started him that week also, right? So that's kind of like the argument on both sides, right? It's like, well, what assuming health, yet like that's part of the thing. But James Conner is known to miss games, and so is Ken Walker. So you kind of have to like factor that in somehow, right?
When I'm evaluating how the player performed, I remove those games personally. Like, yeah, you started them and it sucks, but like, and what's that do to my like, hey, when Ken Walker or when James Conner was playing, they were really damn good. That doesn't really affect how I feel about it. So I get the whole like, yeah, it affects you in the moment, and obviously like it sucks, and but I don't really like factor in injuries for anyone if I'm doing like rankings. And then when I'm evaluating the player, I say, what were they when they were healthy? And I'm assuming they're just going to be healthy. Yeah, and I know that's probably not going to be true, but I was never bought into the injury prone argument. There's like very few players, like Rashad Penny was a guy that I believed that with. So,
well, it's usually soft tissue stuff, right? That's like repeatable. Broken bones and shit like that isn't. But it's also like you can get different kinds of soft tissue injuries and stuff. It's like if a guy has knee problems constantly, then it's kind of like, well, that could be, his knees are just fucked up.
So my last one was Kenneth Walker or James Cook.
I think I know the answer to this.
Yeah, I'm afraid to answer now.
Uh-oh.
Go ahead. Throw out the name.
Cook?
Yeah, I thought it was Cook too.
Yeah, it's Cook by 0.2 points. So
yeah.
But then, like you said, Walker missed 6 games. So that's not, you can't rely on that. So I don't know. I value Walker a little bit more than just the first, but I understand the philosophy behind what you're trying to do. So it really depends on how you feel about Walker. And I do think you'd be fine with Montgomery, Pollard, and Caleb if they're healthy all year. I will say this, though. It wouldn't shock me if Walker is like clearly above all those guys in terms of like he could easily be your best running back this year, and it might not even be close, right? So
I would think he's basically going to be, in did he say it's PPR?
He didn't, but
okay. Not that Montgomery can't catch, but it's going to be. I think you have a much better chance of winning, like keeping Ken Walker. Like, why trade for picks right now?
2026 pick number 15 to 17 in a rookie draft or David Montgomery. Okay, so up top 15 to 17 pick. So you're looking at the 203 to the 205 or David Montgomery.
Yeah, Montgomery.
Yeah, I'm taking Montgomery. I'm taking Montgomery there. Is Woody Marks? I think you meant to write Woody Marks sell since Nick Chubb signed? No, I don't think so. Like, I think they
It's
kind of use.
you got to be a little patient, I think.
Yeah, I think Chubb's more of just like a hey, if something happens to Mixon, we want a guy that we can kind of trust type of thing. I think Woody Marks is going to be more of like their pass catching type of guy. I think that's at least what they're going to try and do with him. So, and they traded up for him to go get him and stuff like that. So, you know, like they used Agumba Wale last year as kind of like that guy, and Agumba Wale is not a great player at this point in his career, or he's kind of an average player. He's 31 years old, so I think they just wanted like a more explosive. I think it does a lot for the offense when just like you can throw it to a running back and they could like catch and run for 40 yards, and it just adds so much to the offense when you can just dump it off and have that. So
yeah, and I mean, Woody Marks was borderline basically undrafted in like half the drafts that I've been through anyways, like what are you selling him for? A third round pick instead of the fourth where you drafted him, Not saying that he didn't go earlier at any point, but he was definitely, I don't know. If you were counting on him to start at some point this year, I don't think that was going to happen.
Yeah. Is Penix a buy for you? I guess it would depend on like what that person wanted for him. Like I'm probably not trading like 2 first-round picks for Michael Penix. But if someone wants to give it to me for like a first plus, I probably would. So I don't know. That's a tough question. I don't know if he is a buy. I think people are generally like overall like excited about Penix for the most part. But he's probably going to fall into that giant bucket of quarterbacks that we always talk about, where it's just like, yeah, they're good passers, but to really be difference makers, to be top 7, top 8 in fantasy, they're probably going to have to throw for 35 touchdowns and 4,500 yards, because I don't think Penix is going to do much rushing. So,
62 in ADP in a Superflex startup draft.
Penix,
yeah,
that's kind of right where I would. I mean, I'd love to down tier. Like if I can down tier from like, like a Brock Purdy to a Penix and get something on top of Penix, I'd do that. I'd do moves like that, but I don't think I'm trading. I would, yeah.
Would you trade Penix and a first? Or sorry, would you trade him? Yeah, Penix and a first for Brock Purdy. You'd rather have the Penix side? And Purdy just got the contract, man, and the system. Like he's actually played pretty, like really well too. So
pretty well.
Get that shit out of here.
Where's that first? Is it a random first? Like,
yeah, just random. We'll just call it the 106 next year.
I'd probably do that then if it was the 106. If it was like truly random, where like this guy could be, or like let's say like 106 is like best case scenario. If you're saying like I think it's going to be the one, I'm confident it's going to be the 106, could be higher, could be lower. But like if like 106 is best case scenario, or I think the guy's going to compete, then probably not. I'd probably want a little bit more. But I think there's a reason this team, when they had Cousins before they knew he sucked, like went out and drafted Penix, and he has all the weapons he needs. I mean, I think he has potentially a good offensive coordinator in there. You got what we think is an elite receiver. You guys got other guys like Darnell Mooney, Ray McLeod, Kyle Pitts, Bijan. So if you were telling me for sure it's like the 106, I think I would do that. It also depends a little bit on my team build up. Like what other quarterbacks do I have? If I'm like trading away Purdy and he's my QB1, then I'd be hesitant. But if he's like my QB2 and I have a solid like Aaron Rodgers as my QB3, and then like I don't know, Herbert as my QB1, then I think I would do that. So, are you you're definitely not doing that?
No, I'd rather have Purdy.
Even if you have like that scenario, let's say you have Herbert, Purdy, Rodgers, and then like a Flacco or something. And so like Penix is like, or Purdy's like your QB2, but like you can also see Rodgers maybe, kind of like not being that far off from Purdy this year, and you're getting Penix back. Would you still go on Purdy?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I don't hate it. Like the contract stuff I get, but I just don't know, like Purdy is, what was he, his best year? Was it 23? Yeah, 2023. Like, I don't know if it gets much better than that. And that was good for sure. But I know it was a down QB year, and I feel like he was like maybe top 10, 9 or 10 points per game. Or I know total he was probably a little bit higher. So, yeah. What side are you on there? Purdy?
Yeah, probably the Purdy. I'm not Penix. But I think you said bucket of quarterbacks. That's a good term, I think. So,
yeah.
Oh, shit. Someone write down the timestamp. Dad complimented Mike.
I disagreed with what he said.
Oh, never mind. Sorry, Mike.
Should have heard what he said last night. He was complimenting me. No, nothing. And let me be clear. I don't think I would be surprised if Penix is like, if his career is that much better than Purdy's. Like I think they're just kind of comparable guys, I guess. So I'll get the extra sweetener on top. Hopefully that helps, Kevin. Hopefully that helps you. I don't know why I can't click the comments here, but I guess we'll just have to read them. So Marvin says, what do you think of Washington's RB room? Who's the guy? Unfortunately, it's probably going to be Brian Robinson. I don't really see – I'm not the biggest Brian Robinson guy. I will say this, in deeper leagues, I still think Eckler has some value. Like, he was actually on a pretty good pace last year. And I'm talking like 800 total yards with like 50-ish, maybe 60 catches or so. I like Ja'Cory. Oh, now it's working. I like Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt as like a dynasty deep stash for sure. Just in case, like, I don't think Brian Robinson is this running back where it's like no one can overtake him type of thing. So,
no, but I don't think he's done anything to lose the job either.
No.
He missed some games last year, and yeah, it's going to be him. Like, I think that's pretty safe, but he is one of those touchdowns.
Eckler had a couple of serious concussions last year, and it was kind of, I thought after number 2 he was going to be toast for the year, but he came back from it. I mean, he's definitely part of the offense. So,
yeah, I'm actually surprised. I forgot about that, so thanks for bringing that up. But I'm actually surprised. He had 733 total yards last year in 12 games, so he was actually on a over 1,000 yard.
Nope, Mike's gone. Can you still hear me, Dad?
Yeah, I hear you fine. It's
okay. I'm sure he'll jump back in here. But yeah, so Eckler would have been 1,000-yard pace, I think was what Mike was saying.
Yeah, it's I don't know what happened there, but 1,000 yard.
It's that American internet, Dad.
Yeah,
it's because he's not in Mexico.
733 yards from scrimmage last year in 12 games. So that would have been almost 1050, and he was getting about 3 receptions a game. So
wasn't he getting a lot of goal line work too?
Not really. He had 4 touchdowns. So, but you're looking at 1,000 yards, 50 catches, and 6 touchdowns. Like, that's a startable piece in deeper leagues.
And then I think it's very repeatable for him too.
I started him a few times last year in a 12-team start 12.
Yeah. He had his really good yards per reception. 10.5 is like how it works for running backs. Like if you're over 8, because a lot of the times for running backs, it's a lot of that's on them. Obviously the quarterback too, but like in how he throws the ball. But good receiving running backs, like you start to, okay, if you're over 8 yards per reception, that's like above average. If you get into like 9, 10, that's like McCaffrey, Eckler type of stuff. And so he was at 10.5, which was his best since 2019. So, he was still pretty efficient, averaged 4.8 yards per attempt, which was his best since 2018 as well. So, yeah, that's but that's how I think it's going to be very similar to last year, where no one's great, but you'll be able to plug these guys in when you need to during bye weeks. Debo is there, and he's looking a little thick. I saw him running, and Debo's looking a little thick.
You mean fat?
He's just a thick dude.
He is a thick dude, but he's looking a little bit extra thicker. Not fat, just thick, which is good. Khalil Mullings over either who there, Marvin. And it's been a while since you posted that. Khalil Mullings over.
I don't even know who that is.
It's Pollard. It's over Pollard and.
Spears or Pollard.
I don't think so.
I kind of brought this up with, what was it? I think it was like a deep rookie stash. Part of me thinks that like Pollard and Spears feel a little redundant. Like they feel a little bit of like a carbon copy of each other. And Khalil Mullins, who's this big, former linebacker type of guy. I think he was a 6th-round pick. Is he kind of like going to be the hammer to that in that offense? Whereas like Pollard and Spears, are just kind of the same person. But honestly, probably not. Probably Mullings is more of a special teams guy, former linebacker. They always play running backs on special teams on punt coverages, and the fact that he was a linebacker plays into that. So I don't think so. If you have a deeper dynasty league, I would stash him, but I wouldn't. I would take a lot of other guys over him, like Krosky Merritt, for example.
Yeah, I think the Spears or Pollard thing. Sorry, I thought you jumped onto that until I just heard that last part. But I mean, it's Pollard over Spears, like for this coming year. Like we talked a lot about this. I remember towards the end of the season, when on our, start sit videos, and it was just like, even the games where Spears played, like over 50% of the snaps, like Pollard was still getting the work when he was on the field, and so like they definitely were using him in that role. And I don't think that's going to change necessarily. Like, and, like Spears had a little more catching upside, I'd say, like, especially like towards the end, but it still was like, Pollard was the obvious number one dude, I think. I don't think that really changes this year.
Yeah, I agree with that. Is Kayshon Boutte tradable or cut? Depends who you're cutting him for. I actually don't mind keeping him. He was okay last year at times, and that wide receiver room, although they added pieces for the Patriots, is not. It's not. There's room for someone potentially to win out there. So depends who you're cutting him for sure. We'll get to these last couple, and then we'll have to take off here. But what's the highest you would pay for Cooper Kupp? He wouldn't be a major price, but can bust, can be a flex. Yeah, it's a good question. I think I was valuing Kupp around like a early second in this year's draft for a contending team. So I'd probably still roll. Like you probably have to do a little bit more now that it's a 26 second. A 26 second, I'd throw a couple seconds at Kupp if I felt like I was a contender. What do you guys think?
I would say start with the second. If they ask for a little more, see if the third gets it done. Like, but I don't mind. Like the 2 seconds, I would try and spend somewhere else, I guess. Like I don't have any doubts that Kupp will be usable. this season. You know, like when he played last year, before, you know, like before the last 4 games or whatever, where he just like destroyed everyone in fantasy playoffs. Like, he was really good still, you know.
He was like elite.
Yeah, like really good. Like wasn't he over like 20 PPR points per game?
Yeah, it was. I don't know exactly the points per game, but I know he was like top 7 wide receiver in points per game.
Yeah, like he was lighting it up even with Nakua on the field. So, yeah, I guess if I was really forced into it, you know, and if he's like your, you know, like if he's that final piece to push you over the edge, I don't mind the 2 seconds, but yeah, I could totally see that.
Yeah. What about Josh Palmer and Rashad Bateman got contracts this summer? Would this be the only time to sell? I don't know if anyone's buying those guys, unless again you play in deeper leagues or maybe best ball.
Yeah, if you can get a 3rd round pick for Josh Palmer, take it. If you can get a 2nd for Bateman, take it. Like, I don't think you're going to get any more than that.
Yeah, I might even take a 3rd for Bateman in a shallower league. So,
and Debo playing tight end.
Yeah, I saw that. Possibly. I one thing I'll say about Debo, I think he's going to be someone I'm going to be targeting in redraft, depending on where he falls. But he was still like really good on screen passes. He's always been good on screen passes and efficient on those. And Washington throws screen passes like I think they were 3rd most screen passes last year in the NFL. So like I think he kind of fits into that offense perfectly. And I think like just look at I don't think it's a coincidence that guys like Austin Eckler had their most efficient season since 2018, and you see like you know I'm talking about with Jaden Daniels and the threat of the rushing quarterback. Like you see Derrick Henry rush, you know, have his most efficient season like ever or something in terms of like yards per carry. So I think that Daniels Debo with Terry McLaurin on the outside is going to be a nice little mix. So
all right, I want Dad to answer first. And you answer second, Mike. Where is Debo getting drafted right now? What round or what pick do you think in redraft?
I don't know. Without thinking about it too much, maybe 7, 8.
Okay.
I kind of had 7 in my mind too. Is this half PPR you're looking at?
It's actually full. I'll switch over to half.
No, it's fine. Full.
But I mean,
I think it does matter a little bit, but it never matters as much as we think.
Honestly, it didn't. It moved him like 3 spots, and you guys nailed it. I mean, well, you nailed it calling him a buy, I guess, or you know, a guy to target because he is going in the early 9th round, early to mid 9th round in half and full PPR. So that's too much of an overcorrection. Wide receiver 44.
That's a bench piece for most standard leagues.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I'm kind of in on that for sure. So good offense. I think he's going to get a lot of carries. Yeah, for sure. Interesting. Okay, Marvin, we'll finish up here. And they keep coming. I'm going to send a trade offer. Team borderline wants to rebuild. He sends Cup and Montgomery for my early 26-second Palmer. Yeah, absolutely.
I don't know that like you got to be a little careful. Like, not that I don't like the trade for that side, but I feel like that's like borderline insulting. You know, like for if what? You're
Cup he's going to send it. Okay.
Yeah, like, you know, like that's a little. I mean, offer him the 2 seconds and the 3rd. I don't know.
I get what you're saying. Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, like you could just like totally like give like it's like, well, I'm not just giving these guys away for nothing, especially if he's borderline rebuild. Like, sweeten the pot to get it done because it's still definitely either one of those guys is worth a second. You know, I mean, you could throw in Trey Palmer, but that might sour the taste a little bit too. You know, like
yeah. Yeah, or you can say, hey, putting feelers out for these guys, you know, counter and stuff. he's talked down Cup a lot. So, and I've seen worse trades, I would say.
That's always funny because that does happen every now and then, and it kind of like that leaves a bad taste in my mouth personally. Is like, oh, you're gonna talk a bunch of shit about a player and then try and get them from me. Like, what is that? Like it works though. I'm not ragging on your tactic, but I've definitely had that happen.
Yeah, no, I try it. I definitely try. I got to Corey Krosky merit. It just depends who you're dropping. So I think he's worth a stash. So Cup is year to year. He's year to year. And this is very likely there's a good chance he's done as like even as an elite guy, even as a top 15 guy. But I'm kind of year to year with him. So
the nice thing about him as like the type of receiver that he is like he can continue doing it, and like he'll become less productive. He won't be like elite, but he could easily play 2 years, like because of the way he wins, kind of, like he's not relying on pure athleticism and speed. He's just really good route runner, which obviously that athleticism plays into that, but he knows what he's doing out there. Like he's not a guy that's just gonna like all of a sudden he's not the fastest guy on the field, like he doesn't have to be, because that's not how he wins.
So Cooper Kupp heading the last weeks 1 through 14, which is that's the end of the fantasy regular season, right? He was the overall points per game 18.4. He was the wide receiver 5 in points per game. That's how good he was last year. And then he tanked.
A little bit of he did miss 5 games out of those 14 also. Yeah. That's a 9-game sample size. But, for a guy like him who's done it before, it's not like that's all he ever did, I think that's a valid piece of data, Like in other cases, it might not be. And you got to remember, too, Puka Nacua was there, So it's not like he was like the obvious only dude on the team or anything like that. Kyron was there, so yeah, he can still get it done. That's why I'm saying like maybe you guys are making me
consider Cup. He's saying we're making him consider.
Yeah, this is a win now team, right? Are we still talking about the same team?
Yeah, I was gonna say I think I would be fine with a second, a third, and Palmer for Cooper Kupp or even Montgomery. Like I'd be fine just sending that for those. I don't think Pollard's really gonna matter in this league unless it's super deep. And so I'm basically looking at this like a second and a third.
I know. Yeah, Kupp. The Palmer thing is he's just a throw-in piece. Yeah. But that's what I'm saying. Like I would do the second and the third for Kupp or Montgomery. That's what I was saying. Like throw another second in there so he'll see that. And honestly, would you consider getting those 2 guys for a win now team, just trading your first? I'm not saying start with that, but it's not outside of the realm of possibility. Like I'd definitely consider it.
Yeah.
And if
I think right. Go ahead. Sorry.
I was going to say, if it does get to that, where he's asking for your first, tell him to send his third back, because if his team's really bad and your team is really good, those might only be 12 picks apart, like in an ideal world.
I feel like I don't know if I'd want to do that in June. That'd be more of like a late September, October trade for me, but I get it as well. I get it'd be a trade I'd be willing to make in October. So like assuming if you told me they were healthy up and through then like, yeah, I would do it. So like, that's the only reason why I'm saying that, like I'm not saying I wouldn't do it for them.
Yeah.
It was more just like, I don't know if I want to do that in June, but
no. Yeah. That's, I think that kind of goes without saying, but maybe we do have to say that. I do think also like, guys can get more expensive too, obviously. But the nice thing is, these guys are on the back end of their careers. Kupp more than Montgomery, obviously. But It's not like he's like a crazy old guy, Montgomery, and he doesn't have to carry the load either, like fully. So, yeah.
But we will wrap it up. I think we're going to be live again Saturday morning, at least. I know, Brian, you won't be here, but the other two, me and Jeff there, maybe we'll run like a startup mock. I want to get a couple of startup mocks in, and then think about end of June, early July, start transitioning a little bit more to redraft stuff. Obviously still covering Dynasty stuff, but in terms
Just
of
one
mock
quarterback
drafts,
or
I don't know. We'll figure that out Saturday. Probably super flex for Dynasty. So appreciate everyone that stopped in, everyone that watched on replay, and putting out a a deep stash video tomorrow. So check that out.
And go Pacers.
Go
For
Pacers,
Kevin.
of course, for Kevin.
not?
Yeah, absolutely. We're gonna go live after they win and the NBA championship. And Kevin, you better drop a. No, I'm just kidding. You don't have to spend any money. Yeah, appreciate everyone, and we'll see you guys Saturday morning.